I recently read this article about what adult children should do if they don't like their mom's boyfriend. Now, they said that if you are going to say something to her, you just got to make it clear, what exactly your issues are with the guy, but to also make sure you're not angry with him just because he doesn't measure up to your standards or up to your other parent. So, ladies, what would you do if you didn't like the guy your mom was dating?
Oof. That's a
Ugh,
tough
that's hard.
Jeannie,
especially since
Jeannie,
I know you're looking
you
at me,
always
right?
liked Uncle Ted.
Yes, I always liked Uncle Ted. Absolutely. Because I thought he was my uncle. And then he turned out to be my stepdad. Long story. Watch my Hello Honey series to figure out how that happened. But here's what I've learned through my family, because we are so honest, so brutally honest, that we can be criticized for being too honest, but it's the best ground for honesty that I've ever learned from, which is from all of my family members, to the point that we can joke with each other honestly, and it's the funniest jokes that you'll get. But I know that when it comes to talking to somebody about someone that you don't like, what you can do is actually make them feel afraid of telling you more things or exposing their relationship to you, that can then push you away where you need to have eyes on the scene and be able to see. So it's not about whether or not I like, let's say, for example, my mom's boyfriend. It's whether or not I'm going to make sure that I stay close to them so I can see what I need to see, so that I can gather the right information if I ever need to have that talk with my mom. And that's what I did with Uncle Ted. I made sure that I really spent time with him, traveled with them, so I could watch him go to his house, meet his kids, see how he treats his kids, because if it got out that I didn't like him, I don't know if I'd be as welcome into those situations, And thankfully, I was able to see what I needed to see. So for anybody else, I recommend you can have your opinion, just make sure that you wait till the right time so you get all the information you need, and then you gotta say it in a straight up honest way, but you gotta be ready that that person is grown and they're gonna do what they wanna do.
Well, it depends on what you don't like them for, in my opinion. So if it's something that is really detrimental, that you think could maybe hurt your mother, I'm gonna have some issues and I'm gonna call it out to both of them. Now, if it's something personal and maybe he wears, socks with sandals, I will talk about him. Be like, look, dude, we don't do this around here.
Yeah, but that's not a real reason.
Yeah, that's not a real reason,
Not
though.
a real reason,
No,
but
that is
I
a
get
real
what
reason.
you're saying, though.
No, I'm talking about there are some things that you don't like about a person that you may call out. If it's a real reason where it's something detrimental, then you definitely should have a talk with both of them and squash it. But if it's a personality thing,
let's air this about
believe in
being
honesty.
personal. Let's make this a personal thing. What would you do if it was not a personal, but it was a detrimental thing, like you said, Lonnie? Then what's your advice?
Then
How
you
do
need
you
to
approach
say
it?
something. You need to say something.
Like I
I think
said.
you always come from honesty, and you always go, you know what? If you're happy, I'm happy, but I don't really see this person for you. I think you gotta be honest. I mean, this is your family. You're not just gonna be pretend and stalk them like Jeannie wants to do and go around seeing what they're doing. But I have to say, the last guy the last guy that I dated, my son met him, my older son met him. And I said, what did you think? And he was like, eh. And then I go, eh. And he goes, yeah. He goes, but Mom, if you're happy, I'm happy. I just don't think he's the one for you. I appreciate that. And that holds weight for me. If my kids didn't like somebody that was in my life, I would have to think about it. I really would, because one, my kids are important. I'm a package deal. But I also feel like they don't have an agenda other than telling me the truth. They're not trying to sabotage me. They're not trying to, ruin my life. So I would really listen to what they had to say.
I think a lot of children sometimes can be wildly selfish. And I think sometimes they're not thinking about their parent, and they're more so thinking about themselves and their feelings.
Well, that's the
And I just think
personal.
I think if they're little, I don't think a grown adult is sabotaging. That's my opinion.
Wait, Adrian, go there.
So I'm sorry to tell, not your son. I don't think your son was doing this to you. But I absolutely know kids that are on some, I have an opinion and I'm selfish, and I've literally had to be like, but it's not about you. Like, that's the first thing we all have to recognize. It's not about you. It's not about how you feel. You don't have to sleep next to the person. You don't have to wake up to the person. It's not about you. So
But you wouldn't
ultimately, when you
care?
are assessing whether or not you like somebody, you need to consider that person, and you need to consider the fact that it's not about you liking them and it's not about your taste. It's ultimately about that other person's happiness.
Yes, it's about your parent, and it's about, is this person great
Yeah.
for your parent? Are they a great influence on your parent? Is your parent happier
Yeah.
now that you see them together?
Yeah, but
Right,
sometimes you may not know what your mama need. Sometimes you may not know, and maybe that person
But
get
sometimes
the
you
need
do.
for it. Hey,
I
you know
say
what I
stay out
mean?
of it completely. I think that people
Hey,
will recognize
what?
who is wrong and not. I would stay out of it completely. When it comes
You
to
would?
matters of the
Hold on.
heart,
Hold on. Adrian. Okay, this is way too
No.
far gone because we love Papa Joe and he's in the family. But let's say Mama Nilda was newly dating. And
Yeah.
she's grown, but you all are grown
Right.
too. And now she's bringing this person into the house, and you just pick up on some things that aren't great. You just pick up on some little things that you're like, ooh, this doesn't, I'm getting red flags. What do?
I would bring them up and bring them up in a way that's like, Ma, did you see this? Were you okay with that? Were you all right with that? Again, it's not about me, it's about her. I'd be like, were you okay with this? Does this bother you when he does that? Does this? And I'd ask those questions. If she's telling me, yes, she likes it, it's amazing, she thinks it's phenomenal, that's all
The
answer
question I
needed.
have for you, Garcelle, though,
Dust.
is was that the guy, Garcelle, was that the guy when you came on, that season you came on, it was last season, and you showed a picture? It was that, okay. I ain't gonna
Yes.
say nothing. That was him, okay. So your son was right, as usual. Your sons are smart. I just want you to know that. They're smart. Listen to them.
Now I gotta go back in my memory bank, which is terrible.
Shut up. Can we
Yeah,
move on?
Go back. I'll never forget.
Okay, fine. All right.